This Bigfoot sighting report was reported by Bob. It happened in August of 2005, August 20th to be exact. It happened just west of Lake Tahoe near Wright's Lake in the Enchanted Pools. Bob used to live in Camino, California. He loved the trout fishing in the area, loved the memories of the area, and when he moved from the area for several years, he talked to a friend and asked him to go stream fishing up there. He agreed and brought another friend along for the ride. Rocky Mountain Sasquatch organization, we're going to bring you into the area, have a look around, show you what's in the area, show you where this guy claims his Bigfoot sighting happened, and we're going to tell you a little bit about his report. Bob's group got up there early in the afternoon and hiked upstream from Wright's Lake and then set up camp. After a few hours, a ranger came along and informed them that they were actually not in the Desolation Wilderness yet, and they needed to keep hiking for a while. So they broke camp. The two guys that were with Bob, they wanted to go to Placerville and get a room. Apparently, they had given up on the fishing trip after the ranger told them to relocate. Bob didn't want to go back to Placerville and get a room. He wanted to go fish. So the other two went back to town, and he stayed up there by himself and went up a little further as the ranger suggested and set up camp at a fishing location. I personally, on this expedition, I discussed the area with the ranger because it did happen off trail, and to get a good idea of where the guy might have been and to get some directions from the ranger and his opinion on the area. He let me know that this year the area is suffering a pretty bad drought, and the fishing and the streams aren't going to be what they were in 2005. So if we were going to go up there and fish in the same area that he was, we probably wouldn't have any luck. As a matter of fact, he says these streams he fished in are probably dried up right about now, but these Enchanted Pools, because they're spring fed, we would probably find a little bit of water, but wouldn't be able to fish. Bob followed some rock stacks off trail that kind of marks the off trail past some football size sheets of granite. He ended up getting lost a bit, but he could hear the stream flowing over rocks to the north. He walked another half-mile or so and located the stream. Below him, about 35 feet down a granite cliff, was a stream that did have a pool in it, right at the tree line. He thought it was a beautiful place to have a campsite. He picked his way down the steep cliff, set up a camp directly next to the pool. There was also a tree line about 6 feet away to the north. The pool was on the east side. He started fishing as soon as his tent was set up, to finish off a gorgeous day. It got dark. He climbed into his sleeping bag, looking to the east to the Crystal Range. There was a glow of a full moon. It worked its way up over the granite mountains. As Bob drifted off to sleep, he heard what can only be described as a low rumbling growl. He always carries a handgun with him when he's in the forest. On this occasion, a .45 compact. When he heard the growl, it really scared the crap out of him, because it was so close. He jumped up with the .45 in hand and looked out over the top of the mesh of the tent. He could see the dark mass, a 4.5 foot tall, right at the edge of the tree line, 6 feet from his head. He yelled some really loud obscenities and started to climb out of the tent. Once clear of the door, he brought up the pistol and fired into the dead tree a few feet away from what he thought was a big black bear. As soon as the pistol went off, it turned back and ran into the brush. But it didn't seem to go very far, and that was concerning. Bears usually run like heck for a long time when they get shot at that close. This seemed to maybe go 50 feet or so into the very thick brush. He could hear it thrashing about as it moved deeper into the trees. But then it just stopped. It all went quiet for about 15 minutes or so. Bob tried going back to bed. Shortly after, he started hearing what sounded like some large rocks hitting the water just above the pool that he was camped beside. It would happen every couple of minutes or so. The sound was not only a splash, but the rock also hitting other rocks submerged in the shin-deep water. Kind of crazy, you know, bears don't throw rocks. That cracking sound, this really concerned him. Thinking it was a bear, maybe circling the campsite and trying to get at him from a different angle, he got out of the tent on several occasions and was trying to see it, thinking that any moment it would come out on the other side of the stream, but nothing. Bob got out a flashlight out of his tackle box. It's one of those shake it and it charges up type flashlights. Not a very good flashlight. And the handle was clear, so when he turned it on, the glowing handle would blind him and make it harder to see. But Bob had a full moon, and the area was surrounded with white granite slabs. So, except in the darkest parts of the wood, at 2 a.m. in the morning, he could see pretty well. Well, anyway, he went back to bed and got another visit. He didn't see it this time. He just heard it really close to the tent this time. Same place as the first time. When he yelled at it, he got a return reply. Something like a oof, oof, but really deep sounding. He jumped out of the tent again, thinking he was going to see it. But there was nothing there. Still, he put another shot into the dead tree, and it went crashing off through the brush again. This time about 50 feet back. There was something odd about the way it sounded when it was running too. Didn't catch it the first few times, but this time it sounded like it was bipedal walking from the site. It only had 2 feet. This was really concerning. It didn't sound like a 4-legged animal, but what difference does it make? Anyway, thinking that he was dealing with a rogue bear, he started to figure out what it wanted. Maybe he was camping on the trail to its water, or maybe it was finding foods in tents. Desolation is a very high traffic place. This particular place was way off trail and didn't appear to have much in the way of hikers. Hikers usually leave some kind of sign, trash, fish hooks, something to say that they were there before, but this place was very clean. Bob decided to take his sleeping bag out of the tent and move to the middle of the big granite slab that he was on. There was about a 4-foot tall ledge facing the woods where all the activity was going on, but now the tree line is 50 feet away and not 6, figuring this would give him some advance warning if it charged. The rocks kept flying, and he kept trying to sleep with one eye open, hoping the sun would come up soon, and checking his watch all night long. Then she showed up. It was 4:40 a.m., and something woke him up. He heard movement at the tree line and looked to where it all started from. He didn't see anything at first, and then looked by his tent. Standing right next to the tent was the creature. His tent is 4 feet tall, and she was twice as tall. At first he couldn't see any features, just the outline. Then it took a couple of steps towards him. He almost peed his pants right there. He picked up his .45 and took a shot off to the left of it. It stopped and looked at him. Then it started walking towards him again. It was very fast. Not running. It just took big steps and closed the distance very fast. Had it been a bear, he would have shot it immediately. But honestly, he doesn't think that the .45 would have stopped the creature anyway. One shot definitely could not have killed it or stopped it in its tracks. Then it was approaching him again. He took another shot, but this one much closer. He could see very clearly at this point, and yes, he peed his pants. The second shot made her stop again, and then she took off running to the northwest area, an area of mostly granite slab and dotted with scrub pine. This was the last time he saw her. She ran off out of sight at great speed. He stayed up the rest of the night, waiting for it to get light enough for him to hike back towards Wright Lake to the southwest. For the remainder of the darkness, he pretty much stayed with the ledge to his back and gun in his hand, shaking in his skin. Bob says he's not been able to sleep right ever since, and for the next couple of months after the incident, he couldn't sleep at all. Every time he closed his eyes, he would hear the growls, the rock splashing, and see her coming at him. BFRO investigator B Brewer interviewed the witness and was able to get more description of what the witness seen of the Bigfoot. When the figure got about 15 feet away from the witness, it was illuminated in the full moonlight, and the witness was able to see a lot of details. The animal's face was similar to a human, the nose being slightly wider, and the lips about the same proportion as a human, the nostrils faced downward and not outward like a gorilla. The lower jaw was wider and larger in proportion to the head of a human. There was hair on the face and jaw, similar to a beard, about 1.5 inches in length. The hair on the head and shoulders and arms were considerably longer, ranging from 3 to 8 inches. The hair was not thick like fur, as the skin could be seen through in places. The witness could also see breasts, and decided that it was female based on the observation. The breasts were large and saggy, but everything was for the most part proportionate. They weren't excessively large, and yes, he saw nipples brown in color. The eyes appeared to be brown and no white showing. Eyes were about the same size in proportion to the head as a human. The level of the mouth was about even with the shoulders. The arm length was longer than that of a human, with fingertips not quite reaching the knees. The head was conical in appearance from the side, but the cone was not evident when facing the animal. The back of the head appeared mainly flat, coming down from the peak of the cone toward the shoulders. The head was conical in appearance from the side, but the cone was not evident when facing the animal. The back of the head appeared mainly flat, coming down from the peak of the cone toward the shoulders. I hope you enjoyed a look at the Bigfoot sighting report location. We love to go to the places that people claim to see Bigfoot. The area is surrounded by Bigfoot sighting reports, so maybe there is something to it. We come in, take a look around, see if we can find anything Bigfoot related, and we just love to show you the report locations. We love to see them firsthand. Keep on watching. We're going to keep bringing you more of these Bigfoot sighting reports, Bigfoot expeditions. Keep on watching. We're going to keep on squatching.